Welcome back to the i.e.427 garage, everybody. Today we're going to take another look at the i.e.427 garage turn signal switch and show you some of the improvements that we are continuing to make on that product. All right, one of the first things I want to address is we get a lot of questions about how much further the steering wheel is going to be when you add the turn signal system to your car. Now, if your steering wheel is set properly and you've spaced the hub away from the dash like it's supposed to be, meaning the end of the tapered portion of the hub is not pushed into the dash, then the difference is about 1 inch total. And I can show you that with one of the hubs I've got attached here to a steering wheel, and then our system with the turn signal switch. All right, so here you can see the steering wheel with the factory 5 hub attached to it, and then you can see our hub right next to it, and the total distance that it's going to push this entire assembly towards you is approximately 1 inch. Now, there's a little bit of give and take in that because you do want to give yourself about a 1/16 of an inch space between the actual hub and the turn signal switch so that they don't rub together. And then there is a tapered spacer that goes behind the actual turn signal unit to get it basically mated up to the dash. But that's pretty close. I mean, it's about 1 inch. Now, you can see in our newest generation of turn signal switch and hub, we're cutting that distance down by about 1/4 of an inch to 3/8 of an inch. So this is the turn signal, and now that is our new generation 2 hub. So what we've done is we've gotten rid of some of the meat that we previously needed to machine the pins in the end of the turn signal hub that goes with our unit. And by doing that, we were able to save about 1/4 of an inch to maybe 3/8 of an inch. I haven't actually sat down and measured it precisely, but just by looking with your eye, you can see it's a little bit shorter. All right, so basically what we've done is we were using the factory 5 hub, and we still are, but we were using its total length to dictate where we machined the hubs for the pins that do the self-canceling portion of the turn signal. What we found is that we can actually save on a little bit of machine time and save on a little bit of material and still keep the same cost going forward by taking all of this and instead doing this. So this one is still 2 pieces. So you can see right here there's a faint line where the factory 5 hub, which is to this side, and the portion that we add to this side, you can see that cut line, and this is where those pieces are pressed together. And then what we've done now is we've added roll pins to do the self-canceling portion for the turn signal switch. So we were able to cut the meat of this down. So you can see when these are side by side, the one in the back being the generation 1 and the one in the front being the generation 2, that the generation 2 is much thinner. Now what our goal is going forward is to basically negate having to use the factory 5 hub altogether. Now that'll probably be our generation 3 hub. It'll look very similar to the generation 2 hub, but it will be all one piece with the roll pins for the self-cancellation portion of it, and it's going to be basically our complete design. So it will have no factory 5 supplied part in it whatsoever. Now by investing in a little bit of tooling, actually it's a lot of bit of tooling, but by investing in a little bit of tooling, we'll be able to cut that double D shape that the hub fits on to secure it to the steering shaft. And since we're going to be able to do that, we'll now be able to make a quick release specific hub. Now, we are only going to drill these for one type of quick release. And I hunted around for quite some time before I decided on the quick release that we're going to go for. Now, we will not be providing the quick release mechanism. It'll be something that you have to buy separately from the actual provider that manufactures the quick release. But we're also manufacturing our hub in a way that if you want to go with a different brand, let's say you want to use the NRG, which seems to be popular with a lot of people that are worried about that space between the dash and the driver, then by all means, you can take that hub, you can drill the pattern in it, and you can go ahead and drill and tap your holes in it to connect the NRG base to the hub. Now, what we decided on, or what I decided on, was the quick release from Motion Raceworks. And the reason I decided on this one is because the hub, the quick release mechanism itself, can only go on one way. So if you look, there is a definite top, and that's the top right here. You can see the way that the spline is shaped, the steering wheel or the hub will only go on one way. And when it locks, it is a positive lock. Since you can't put this thing on the wrong way, it is a positive lock onto the hub. It cannot come off. It's also certified SFI, but again, we are not providing this. We're only going to provide the hub, and you can see our prototype hub right here. Now, the finished hub will resemble our regular hubs, like our Mark IV hub here in the Generation 1, and our hub here in the Generation 2. The difference will be, it will be a lot thinner because we won't have to provide a recess for the bolt in the Factory 5 hub. And that is for the cap head bolt that goes in here to secure it. The nice thing about this one from Motion Raceworks, since it's made basically to do exactly what we're doing, there is a recess in the mounting boss in the bottom of it for that cap head screw. And so we can make our hub much shallower than we can make any of the ones that have a steering wheel that's going to attach on them, because we don't have to worry about the recess for your center cap base. Now you can see that there are multiple mountings for different types of steering wheel. So it'll mount with a standard 6-hole or a standard 5-hole. Now, a lot of the steering wheels that Motion Raceworks sells, and then Momo and Sparco and all those others, will bolt up to this adapter. One thing that it won't bolt directly to is the Factory 5 steering wheel. So the end builder / user is going to have to drill this and mount it to the base in order to get the Factory 5 steering wheel to basically attach to it. Now, this isn't much different than if you were to take your standard hub and re-drill it for, let's say, the NRG quick release or one of those. You'd have to re-drill the hub and re-drill your steering wheel to make it all kind of work together. And an example of that is over here, where the owner of this Coupe has mounted the NRG quick release base right here to the steering wheel. And you can see from this side, the holes don't exactly match up with the Factory 5 holes. So it was basically drilled on that same 6-hole pattern that the Motion Raceworks quick release is mounted up to. This will not allow the Factory 5 center cap to basically slide in. All right, so mounting the Factory 5 steering wheel to this is going to be no different than if you were going to be drilling your Factory 5 hub in order to accept a different steering wheel. Now, we will provide instructions on how to modify your center cap if you're going to use the factory 5 steering wheel with this option. So I think that'll kind of give you guys an idea of what we're thinking on our quick release. If you have any questions about this, go ahead and put them in the comments. But I think we're pretty much settled on the way we're going to do this. And if you guys want to do a different quick release, like I said, if you want to, try the NRG or one of the others, then this will make a perfect jumping off point for that, because you'll basically have a blank canvas. It'll be pre-drilled for the 3 holes that utilize the Motion Raceworks mounts, but the outer perimeter of the hub will still be blank. So if you guys want to line something up and punch, drill, and tap for a different quick release, it'll work perfect for that. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is the angled wedge spacer that we use to mount the turn signal switch to the dash. Now, this is just for the Mark IV right now, but it will carry over into the Gen 3 and the Gen 1 and 2 Coupe when we go into production on those. So up to this point, we've been making this angled spacer out of aluminum, but the turn signal itself is black. And so what we decided to do is we've got a black phenolic material that we are going to be supplying with the turn signal switch system from basically the next month's batch. So this piece allows us 2 things. It allows us to match the actual color of the turn signal switch, and it saves us in machine time, and it saves us on material cost. So we're going to be able to push a price increase out farther back now than we would have with the increase in raw material costs right now. And the piece really looks nice when it's all finished. I mean, you can see the machining that Dan did on this. It's beautiful. All right, the last thing I want to talk about is the Coupe offering. So this is going to be for the Gen 3 Coupe. We're doing everything we can at this point to get this product out sometime mid-summer. So that's going to put us somewhere mid part of July to the end of July, and that we're still hoping for that. Dan has the part machined. We need to get that back to our shop here to do some test fitting on the Coupe that we have in the shop right now, and then that will go back to Dan. And then that will be his template going forward for all of you Coupe guys out there that are waiting for your turn signal switch. So we haven't forgotten about you. We're still working, but at the same time, we're trying to get as many of the Roadster, the Mark IV guys and the Mark III guys, kind of get them their products at the same time. So it's a delicate balance trying to do some R&D on the Coupe while still satisfying all of the current customers for the Roadsters. So that's ongoing. The one thing that we don't have right now is we do not have a viable template for the Gen 1, Gen 2 Coupe. Now, Wayne has gotten me our Alpha piece back here at the shop. I've got some parts that I'm going to be sending to Dan this week, and then that will go to him, and then he will start working on the research and development for that part for the Gen 1, Gen 2. I'm not sure that we have any of the Gen 1, Gen 2 Coupe guys on the waiting list right now, but if you are, and you just told me that you're looking for one for a Coupe, go ahead and send me a backup email and let me know that you're looking for one, not for a Gen 3, but for a Gen 1 or Gen 2 Coupe. And then I can make sure that we know that we've got someone else out there that's looking for that. As of now, I think we've got 10 or 11 guys looking for the Coupe offering, and I believe those are all Gen 3 Coupes. So we're working really hard to get you guys kind of moving forward. I appreciate your patience. We're working just as fast as we can to get those ready and available so that we can get some of those out in the marketplace.